Hello there. Welcome. This is Robin Fiked of Stampin' Country. Today I'm going to show you how to make a sliding barn door card that would make Joanna Gaines proud. We're going to use the barn door stamp set and the coordinating sliding door framelit dies by Stampin' Up. You'll be amazed at how easy these slider cards are to make. Here's what the card will look like when it's finished. It'll slide back and forth to reveal what would be traditionally the outside and inside sentiments. There are several sentiments that are included in the barn door stamp set, but you can also substitute additional stamp sets for other occasions. We're going to start with a small piece of crumb cake cardstock to stamp our barn door. I'm using Early Espresso ink. Be sure to stick around to the end of the video. I'll show you 5 more sliding barn door card ideas. Then we'll set that aside and stamp our card front to look like barn siding. I'm using the hardwood background stamp to stamp my siding. I've cut a piece of 5 1/4 by 4 inch cherry cobbler cardstock. And again, I'm using Early Espresso ink. I'm using my Stamparatus stamp positioning tool to ink the siding for nice even coverage, but you could use a clear block. Notice how easy it is to get even coverage. I'm cleaning my stamp with an absorber cloth. I'll include a list of card supplies in the video description below. Next, I'll stamp sentiments on a piece of 4 1/8 by 2 1/2 piece of Whisper White cardstock with Early Espresso ink. I'm again using my Stamparatus for even stamp alignment. Plus, I can stamp a whole stack of these babies at one time. Notice that I'm using ink spots rather than full-size pads with my Stamparatus. I found that they're easier to handle than full-size pads, but you can use full-size pads too. Look at that. Perfect. Now we'll stamp the wreath. I'm using an old olive marker and a Daffodil Delight marker to ink my wreath to get 2 colors. After I've cleaned my stamp, I'll stamp twice more with Daffodil Delight ink so that I can use just the flowers to jazz up my sentiments. My flowers look just a wee bit flat, so I'll use the fine tip end of my Early Espresso marker to add dots to the centers of my flowers. It's time to bring in the big shot. Be sure to place your framelits rough side or cutting side down. I'm using repositionable tape to keep my framelits in place. I'll list the supplies at the bottom of my video, but you might also want to go to my Stampin' Country blog for photos of all 6 slider cards that I'm going to show you today. I really like that there's a separate die to cut just the flowers. It saves so much time. Next, I'll cut the slider part of my card on my barn siding piece. Place the framelit just a bit closer to the bottom to allow for the sliding door hardware. But take care not to place your framelit too close to the bottom. You will still need room for your foam tape along both the top and the bottom. The sliding door framelit dies include all the hardware. I like to cut mine with black cardstock for a trendy look, but silver foil sheets would also make sharp hardware. There are 2 dies for the rollers, so I can cut all my hardware in one pass through the big shot. Love these extra time-saving pieces. Adhere your sentiment between the sliders. I'm using washers to make my sliders. They are approximately 3/8 of an inch. You'll need 8 washers for each card. I'm using many Stampin' Dimensionals for extra height and to adhere my washers together. Place a washer below the sliders on the left side of your card. Peel and stack a second washer and place it on top of both your washers on the left side of your slider. Make sure they're positioned all the way to the left. Oops, let's put the hardware on before we assemble our card. I'm using a jewel picker to pick up the tiny pieces. Glue dots will make the rollers stronger. Place the left side of the barn door over the left washers, and then we'll repeat the whole process again on the right side of the card. Position the bar strategically below the rollers so that it looks like the rollers are sliding across the bar. Though they serve no purpose, they sure do look cool. Looking good. The flowers just add a little pop of color to the sentiments. I'm using foam adhesive strips to pop up my slider panel. They're higher than the dimensionals to give me the height that I need. Don't skimp too much on the foam strips. They're also going to add strength to your card for lots of fun rolling action. Place one across both the top and the bottom, and also below each slider hole. Take care not to place them too close or they'll restrict your washer movement. Place the whole thing on a 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 piece of crumb cake cardstock. Ta-da! Now let's look at 5 other slider cards. The first one uses the same red barn siding. But I used gray as my complementary color, and I stamped the other wreath. I made it an anniversary card using sentiment stamps from the Beautiful Bouquet stamp set. Next up is a dragon from the Magical Day stamp set. My grandsons are enamored with dragons, so I figured that it would be quite popular. I embossed my slider piece with the brick wall embossing folder, hoping for more of a castle look. This soft and pretty slider card was embossed with the Simple Stripes textured embossing folder. I again used the Beautiful Bouquet stamp set to make a wedding card. The door was stamped on wood texture designer paper. You may want to add a piece of cardstock behind the designer paper to make your door stronger. I made this birthday card for my friend that loves all things primitive. I again used the wood textured designer paper backed with cardstock. And last but not least is a cute slider card that I made back in January. I used the We Must Celebrate stamp set to add the adorable bear and bunny. And let's not forget the cheerful snail. That gives you a half a dozen different barn door slider cards to make. Which one did you like best? I have links below to all the supplies that I used, but you'll want to hop on over to my blog for pictures of all 6 cards. If you haven't done so already, be sure to subscribe so you can see more fun crafting videos. See you soon! Thanks for stopping by and have a fabulous day.